yeah. What else?
Maybe we could
The only other two things I want to rap about was the zigzag diet, which was one of my early, really understandings in terms of how to like periodize inside a cycle the diet. The idea of
I still believe in the zigzag diet. I have different points of view now. The science has come a long way in the past 30 years on diet. For example, back then everybody was preaching, you got to stay away from the fats. You got to stay away from the fats. And the only thing that your body can use for energy is carbs. So carbs had the pinnacle of the energy
which we know is
pyramid.
not true.
Anyway, so that's all different now.
Sure.
But the zigzag dieting is still important. And it's very simple to remember. If you're not doing anything over the next 2 or 3 hours of your life, eat very little. If you're doing a lot in the next 2 or 3 hours of your life, eat a lot. You eat for what you're going to do. You never eat for what you just did.
Well, we always the way I always understood the zigzag diet was kind of a heavy, medium, light. The idea that if I'm going to train heavy, I'm going to eat more, and like by 1,000 calories. If I'm here, I eat X, and then if I'm eating less, it's like 1,000 less. And I used to let's say I was eating I need to eat 3,000 calories a day. Some days I eat 4, some days I eat 3, some days I would eat 2, and I would kind of alternate back and forth. And I found by actually kind of, not giving the same amount of calories every single day, I actually found that my performance and body composition, everything actually improved.
Yeah, I have no doubt. And so I still believe in that. I think it's the right way to do it. That's the way the bodybuilders have been doing it for years and years and years. And they eat 5, 6, 7 times a day. So I used to preach that. I no longer preach that part of it, but in fact, I more recently in the past, since I had my cancer, I've been doing
like fasting and ketogenic.
Ketogenic fasting and intermittent fasting they call it, I guess, where I eat twice a day, and never after 5 or something like that.
So how long do you fast for? Usually, what, like 16 hours, somewhere in there, 15, 16 hours?
Well, if my last meal is at
5 o'clock.
Yeah, is at 5 o'clock. That's when I eat, and the next time I eat is at 8 o'clock in the morning. How long is that?
Yeah, it'd be 15 hours.
15 hours.
Yeah, 15 hours.
Give or take.
I mean, the pretty interesting the story on the ketogenic diet. That obviously, I don't know if you guys know, but Doc got diagnosed with cancer and ended up kicking the cancer in the teeth using a ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
What kind of cancer were you diagnosed with?
It was. I had prostate cancer, which had metastasized to my bones, which is typically the kiss of death.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
when it metastasizes like that. In fact, the doctor gave me 3 months to live. So I said, okay, I don't believe him, and I'm going to go do everything that I can do to prove him wrong. And I just happened to have a buddy who's a research scientist at University of South Florida. He was studying the ketogenic diet. And so I hooked up with him. And
who is this?
His name is Dominic.
Oh, D'Agostino. Yeah. No, he's
smart guy.
Yeah, he's really kicking ass on the.
He is. He's getting quite a name for himself in that field. So that's. And some Christian TV station picked the story up. I forgot what the name of the station is, whatever. But and all over the United States, people have been calling me. Tell me about the ketogenic diet. My father's got cancer and stuff. Oh man, it just about wiped me out.
Just having to talk to people about it.
Yeah, I did my best. I didn't turn anybody away, but I said, first thing I said, look, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know anything about cancer. All I know is I did this diet and my cancer went away.
What was the time frame from diagnosis starting the ketogenic diet to where they ended up giving you a clean bill of health?
Well, I did the ketogenic diet for 9 days. That's all. By the 9th day, the cancer had virtually disappeared in my bones.
9 days.
9 days. That's all. I don't know. I can't explain it.
That's crazy. I mean,
and
it's tough to even get into ketosis in 9 days.
Yeah. Well, I was in ketosis on the 2nd or 3rd day. I had keto sticks, and I measured my blood glucose. So I kept my glucose pretty close to 50 the whole time, which is very low.
Sure.
And that's what you got to do, I believe.
Sure.
I don't believe in. I didn't even eat one single bit of carbohydrate
I did when I retired from the NFL. You know, there was a lot of stuff with brain injury and traumatic brain injury for NFL players, and so I did about a year-long ketogenic diet where I didn't really eat a carb for an entire year, and ended up coming out the other side and feeling 100% better. Than because when you look at all the research, I mean, really.
Well, that was very wise of you because
I have a smart friend from Harvard that pulled up every study he could find, and his recommendation was a ketogenic diet for not only acute but chronic brain injury is one of the best
exactly right
ways they've treated it for the last 100
See,
years.
because people never really realize this about ketone bodies. They can penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and it becomes fat. Then becomes the brain's
primary
fuel of choice.
Well, I mean that's really how we're designed. I mean, if you think about the human body, is a lot like a Prius. I mean, the idea that when you're just kind of motoring around, living in this normal life, you're a fat burner, and then all of a sudden you got to hit the gas to train or run or evade or do something. Then all of a sudden,
it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, then you run into that's why we always talk about people that are metabolically deranged being sugar burners constantly, burning off a carbohydrate because the body's smart. It's going to use whatever has most readily available. And if you eat a low-fat diet and low protein and a high-carb diet, the body's going to all of a sudden adapt over and start using carbohydrates as primary energy.
And that exactly is what was taking place for the last 45 years in the United States. Why so many people are fat? They were told the wrong stuff by the Food and Drug Administration, by their doctors, by everybody. Everybody told them the wrong things. Doesn't that make you ill?
Well, I mean, if you go back, you look at Ansel Keys, the seven country study. I mean, that was in the 60s, 59, 60. And we've come to find out now here 50, 60, 70 years later that whole study was funded by the sugar industry.
That's right.
And they fucking paid them off and doctored all that bullshit. And next thing you know, for the next 50, 60 years, it drives fucking...
He got away with it, too.
Yeah. He got paid the money, and he completely fucked us up, Now we're trying to do a little bit, but even to this day, you start. Well, what do you mean? I don't have to eat carbs as my prime. I don't have to wake up every morning and have a big bowl of,
Cheerios.
Cheerios. You got to have those heart healthy grains. But I mean, that's how we all were raised. I mean, I know my dad was like, here's your big bowl of cereal you got to have every morning because you got to have those healthy grains. And then all of a sudden, I go to school and fall asleep in first class, not realizing that I'm in fucking diabetic insulin coma.